Hey guys, I'm going to be going over how to draw out the different parts for the cardboard version of your air racer. It is very similar to the paper version, but there are some differences. So please make sure that you're paying attention and you are measuring carefully. First thing we're going to do is draw out the body. Okay, the body is going to run all the way across from side to side from the cardboard, just like it did for the paper version. So the dimensions are the same. So we're going to start in the upper left corner and we are going to measure down the side 3 inches. I'm going to move my ruler over to the other side and do the same exact thing. Start in the upper right corner and measure down and put a mark at 3 inches. So I have a mark here and a mark on this side. Go ahead and connect them from side to side carefully, making sure that your ruler does not move or slide on you. You want this line to be as straight as possible. So there's the body. We're then going to draw in the ramp part in the back of the body. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my upper left corner where I first started, and I'm going to measure down along the top edge this time. Okay, I'm going this way, 3 inches, and put my mark. I'm going to slide down to the line that I just drew, so this line here, and from the left edge, I'm going to measure in 3 inches again and put a mark right on that line. Okay, so I have a mark up here on the top and I have a mark down here on this bottom line. Go ahead and take your ruler and you're going to connect those lines so that you have a nice straight vertical line, just like that. We're going to label these two parts. Okay, this is going to be the body, and this part back here is going to be the ramp. R-A-M-P. Okay? So we got those two parts out of the way. Next, we're going to draw the sides. The sides are going to be 1.5 inches tall or 1.5 inches thick, depending on how you're looking at it. So, from the bottom line right here of my body, I am going to measure down along the left edge 1.5 inches, and I'm going to put a mark right there by the side. I'm going to come on over to this side and do the same thing. Measure down along the edge, 1.5 inches. Put my mark. So I have a mark here and a mark here. Go ahead and connect them from side to side. Again, take your time. You want this line to be as straight as possible. Don't let the ruler move on you. Alright, and we're going to label that one side. And we're going to repeat the same exact process to draw side 2. You will need 2 of these. So I'm going to use my ruler. Come back to the bottom line here of my side. Again, the measurement, we're coming down along the edge 1.5 inches. Putting my mark there. Moving over to the right side. Coming down 1.5 inches on the right. Okay, so here's my 2 new marks. And again, connecting them from side to side. Just like that. And again, we're going to label this part side. Alright, so at this point you should have 4 parts. A ramp, a body, a side, and a side. We're now going to move down to the bottom edge of the cardboard square that you're given. Okay, so we're going to work off the bottom edge for right now. Alright, we're going to draw your fins. Alright, they're going to be the same shape as the paper version, but they're going to be a little bit bigger. So in this bottom left corner, right here where my finger is, okay, I'm going to measure up towards the top. I'm going to measure up 4 inches right along that edge and put my mark. There's my mark right there. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come back down here to this bottom corner, and instead of measuring up, I'm going to measure along the bottom this way 4 inches. And put your mark. Okay, so here's my 2 marks. I got one on the side and one on the bottom. These marks, we are going to extend them just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to come back up to this top mark, and I want it to go in towards the middle 1 inch. So I'm just going to draw a 1 inch straight straight line, just like that right there. Same thing, I'm going to come down here to this mark on the bottom, and I'm going to draw this one straight vertically towards the top, 1 inch. Okay, so I now have these two marks. All you have to do now is you're going to connect the upper mark with the bottom mark. Again, please make sure you take your time and make sure that this is straight. But you should end up with a diagonal line that looks just like this. Okay, we're going to label this one fin. And we're going to move over to the other side. We're going to move over here to the right edge of the paper, and we're going to repeat the same process. So again, I'm starting from the bottom right corner, and I'm going to measure up along the side vertically this way, 4 inches. And there's my mark. Okay, we're going to come back down here to the bottom right corner, and I'm going to be measuring this way in along the bottom towards the middle, 4 inches. So right there is my mark along the bottom. So here's my two marks over here for my other fin. Again, we have to extend these just a little bit. We're going to extend them 1 inch. So the bottom one I'm going to extend up vertically 1 inch. The one over here on the side I'm going to extend in the middle, or in towards the middle I should say, 1 inch. And then again, I'm just connecting this point from my upper mark to this point on my lower mark. Should end up with a nice straight angled line that looks like that. And again, we're going to label this one. This is going to be our second fin. And the last part we're going to draw is we're going to draw the air scoop right here in the middle between the two fins. However, this is going to be different than the paper version. This time it's just going to be a square. We're not going to have those weird tapered angular sides. So in the middle, okay, I'm just going to measure off of this edge of the fin. I'm going to measure over 3 inches and put my mark right there. I'm going to extend this mark up towards the top 3 inches. Again, make sure you take your time and it's a nice straight line. Okay, so I have here, I'm going to go across the top 3 inches that way. I'm going to measure across the top this way 3 inches. Again, take your time, make sure it's straight. And then all I'm going to do is measure down this way, right next to the edge of my fin, 3 inches. So you should have a 3 inch by 3 inch square that we are going to label air scoop. Alright, so these are your parts. You're going to go ahead and you're going to cut these out. Once you have them cut out, I want you to take your two sides. We have one last measurement and cut to make with those. Okay, so after you cut your parts out, alright, this is your side piece. And what we need to do is we need to cut an angle on these. And it'll make sense once you have it all built and you go to race. But to do the angle, okay, you're going to start in the upper right corner up here. And you're going to measure down, straight down along the edge, 1/2 of an inch. Okay, so I'm going to use my ruler, come down 1/2 of an inch, and put my mark right there. Then I'm going to come down here to the bottom right corner. So I'm going to be measuring along this bottom edge now, and I'm going to measure 3 inches in towards the middle. Okay, so along the bottom edge, I'm going to come in 3 inches and put my mark right there. Okay, just like we did with the fin, we're going to connect the two marks to create an angle. Okay, so I'm going to use my ruler, and again, neatly, carefully, I'm going to draw a straight line. I'm going to go on this side. For an angle like that, okay? Kind of looks like a little door wedge, it's a little triangle, okay? What you want to do is you want to go ahead and you want to cut this part off, Okay, you want to get rid of that little door wedge looking shape. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this right now. Just like that. So this is our new fin, or I'm sorry, our new side, and it has this angled part right here in the front. Now, for side 2, you could go ahead and retrace those or redraw those dimensions, or what I recommend doing is just taking the side you already have, putting it on top, and using it as a template. And you're just simply going to, same thing, we're going to trace that angle. And again, we're going to cut off that little triangle that we have now, the little door wedge looking shape right here. Trim that off. So you should now have 2 sides, and each of them should have those angles. Once you're at this point, you are done with your parts, and you can start to hot glue them together.